It's as tight as I've ever seen it. It truly is. I mean, you can point to supply chain problems, and you can point to Omicron. You know, you have the Austrian mint that's more or less been incapacitated recently with COVID. You had the United Kingdom. In fact, I think we talked about it on your show when it first happened, running out of blanks, and they've really hardly produced anything in the way of silver over the past few months. You got the inefficiencies out of the U.S. and the Canadian. You have refineries that are taxed and working, 18 hours a day just to keep up with demand. It's a situation where, in all the years I've done this, I've never seen a greater challenge. In fact, it is our defining challenge. That is finding inventory. You guys, when I was doing this as recently as 2018-19, it would be a phone call to a handful of the primary distributors or to the U.S. Mint. A 7-figure order would be on a truck and delivered to us within 48 hours.
Wow.
The way that it works now is you place an order between 60 and 90 days in advance. You pay, in most cases, in full. You hedge the purchase, and then you run logistics. And you're dealing with so many moving parts from the refineries or the mints, if applicable, importing it across the country and through across the globe and in through customs, and then running it on trucks and tracking logistics. And when is it okay to sell it? How do you communicate with your clientele that, yes, it's on its way in? We did this. We've had many problems with that, where we will lock in an order or a series of orders based upon a promise by a distributor, only to find out that everything was a week backlog because of problems with customs or container ships or Brinks trucks or whatnot. The generic Buffalo rounds are your least expensive 1-ounce form. We're specialing those right now at $2.99 over. We have 40,000 in stock. The Kilo Bar by Valcambi, if you're looking at bar form, is in a really interesting position because they're less money than the 100-ounce bars. And they're decent availability. So,
nice.
All of the sovereign coins are getting tougher to get and the premiums are rising. But if you're talking what are the best values in sovereign coins, it would be the Kangaroo, the Britannia, the Krugerrand. The Maple Leaf and the Eagle have really been expensive. In particular, the Eagle is, for the last 2 years, has been ridiculously expensive. When you talk about a minute mintage, their minute mintage. And, there was all sorts of disinformation that was sent out about the Type 2, that it had a chip embedded in it or that there were cracking things in it. And they've all been debunked. But there are a lot of people, even some people like Big Square was talking about the potential of the silver being used in the Type 2 not being of the same fineness or quality or purity as the Type 1. I don't believe that really to be true either. I guess I'm not positive on that. But the bottom line is simply that the Type 1 Silver Eagle, which really, I talked about probably on your show, the Mint more or less shut down in April and didn't produce anything for 4 months, even though they claimed to be open until they issued the Type 2 in July. Bottom line is you had about 3 months worth of production at most on the Type 1 2021, and it's become a collectible.
What's your outlook right now for inflation for 2022?
Yeah, I think it's here to stay, to be honest with you. I mean, we've talked ad nauseum about what the Fed has done and how foolish the word transitory was from the get-go, how 50% of every dollar ever created in the history of the country was done in the last 2 years. Look, in 1980, when Volcker tried to quell inflation, he raised interest rates to 18%. You can't raise interest rates any longer to that type of level when the whole system is as over leveraged as it is. It will collapse. And by the same token, I think they also know that they can't let inflation run wild. In both scenarios, they're out of a job at the end of their 4-year term. So one of the things that you see bouncing around a lot is the topic of price controls. Last time we saw that was in 1971 at 4% inflation, 4%, which is pretty close to half of what it is right now. Nixon issued price controls. And I think that is the path of least resistance for the Biden administration. You can't let interest rates rise or everything collapses, stocks, bonds, and real estate. And you can't let inflation continue to burn through everyone's cash as everyone's standard of living is really depreciating by 7% per year, if not more. So what you see, I think, is the potential for price controls. And when you see price controls, what you really see is the quality of goods and services deteriorating because And it exacerbates the current supply shortages, the problem that we're facing right now, because when you reduce the supply and quality of whatever is being controlled, it creates a problem, because people do less when they are paid less, and higher quality costs more. It's just a bad thing. And then they talk about what happens when they let go of the price controls. It's called catch-up inflation, where they release the price controls just like they did in 71, and inflation skyrockets as it did, as prices try to catch up.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information, and it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier, and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Marco Stan, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address, because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I intend, how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Marco Stan.